Yo, what's up, sports bettors? I have 6 player props to make $10,000. It's Thursday, almost Friday, tons of NBA playoff games. Let's go ahead, let's get into some of these picks. So the tool I started out on is called the OddsJam odds screen, right? So this tool is pretty simple. All it does is it reads in data from the entire market. So I'm currently looking at NBA player rebounds, but you can look at whatever you want, right? And what you're going to notice is Julius Randle, his line on PrizePicks is 8. Right? PrizePicks has his line at 8 rebounds. All the sports books, Underdog, Fantasy, every other platform, every other data point has Julius Randle's line at 8.5 rebounds. Right? And there's not a ton of juice towards the under. I mean, you can see PointsBet, they have the same odds on the over and the under. FanDuel has the under 8.5 rebounds slightly favored. So maybe the sports books have the under 8.5 a little bit favored. Underdog's at 8.5. PrizePicks, their line is too low. Right? PrizePicks is at 8. All the other data points in the market are at 8.5. So we want to take the over. Right? PrizePicks is a line discrepancy. So I say this all the time, but this is really what makes sportsbooks, platforms like PrizePicks, Underdog, FanDuel, so exploitable. Is all these books, they try to set lines independently. So essentially, as a sharp sports bettor, we have dozens of data points all telling us where this line should be set, and every book, every other data point except PrizePicks has Randle's line at 8.5 rebounds. So PrizePicks is too low. We found a discrepancy in the market. We want to take the over, right? Whereas you look at Quentin Grimes, all the books have his line at 2.5 rebounds. There's not major discrepancies in the odds. Underdog and PrizePicks are both at 2.5. There's no value in the market. Right, so typically when I'm using this screen, I'm mainly looking for discrepancies between PrizePicks and Underdog because these platforms are direct competitors. They work in basically the exact same ways. I'm looking for discrepancies between, okay, where are PrizePicks and Underdog setting the line at different levels, right? So another example, right, Darius Garland, all the books have his line at, 2.5 rebounds. No value in the market. We don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So those are the first plays that I went with, or the first play that I went with is Randle. Over 8 rebounds, right? And I say this all the time too, but the reason that PrizePicks is a pretty interesting platform is they're not going to change your payouts based on you selecting overs or unders, right? PrizePicks is a fixed payout platform. Any 6 picks you select, you're getting a 25x payout if you go 6 for 6, a 2x payout if you go 5 for 6, and if you go 4 for 6, you're getting a 0.4x payout, right? These payouts don't change based on you selecting over or under. Right? You look at sportsbooks, right? And you go to, let's say, player props, such as player points. Sportsbooks, they're varying your payouts based on you selecting over or under. If you take Mitchell's under, you're getting plus 287 odds on DraftKings. Whereas if you take his over, you're getting, plus 204. So the sportsbooks are telling you, hey, Davion Mitchell, he's a lot more likely to go over 6.5 points. So a tool that I use all the time to find value is called the OddsJam Positive Expected Value tool. And all this tool does is it reads in data from all the sports books. So for example, Michael Grove, Caesars, Fliff, DraftKings, Pinnacle's known to be the sharpest bookmaker. They all have his over 2.5 earned runs as the heavily favored outcome, right? So if we go over to DraftKings, we go to MLB, and then, OddsJam is scanning all of these lines, pulling them in. So if we go over to earned runs, there's so many different lines you can bet. And then we wanted to look at Grove. You can see right here, right? DraftKings has his over 2.5 earned runs. So him giving up over 2.5 runs. DraftKings has the over heavily juiced, just like all the other sportsbooks. OddsJam is just reading in millions of odds from sportsbooks to show you lines like this. So why is this a profitable play on PrizePicks, right? Why do we want to include this in our PrizePicks entry? Well, again, PrizePicks, they're not changing your payouts, right, based on you selecting overs or unders. They're not changing your payouts based on you selecting overs or unders. So really, you just want to find spots where sportsbooks are telling you, hey, this over is really heavily favored, and you can still get it in your PrizePicks slip. So for Michael Grove, all the books, right, Caesars, DraftKings, we have numerous data points, Pinnacle, all these bookmakers are telling us, hey, Grove is a lot more likely to give up over 2.5 earned runs as opposed to under. Right, so this is a profitable play in your PrizePicks entry. You really just want to look for spots where sportsbooks have an over or an under, heavily favored, juiced to like minus 140, minus 145 odds, and include that in your PrizePicks slip. So Grove, over 2.5 earned runs. I'm following the data. All the sportsbooks have his over heavily favored. That's a great player prop for us to include. Embiid, over 3.5 assists. All the books have his over as the heavily favored outcome. Bet Online, a really sharp sportsbook, has his over at -143. All the books, all the data points, right? They're all telling you the same thing. Hey, Embiid's a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. So here's, long story short, the first play I went with. 6 picks to win 10 grand. Embiid over 3.5 assists. This play is just from the EV tool. Torrey Craig over 8.5 points. Bratt under 2.5 shots on goal. So you can see a lot of these plays here. Derek White under 4.5 rebounds. Durant over 5 assists. Grove over 2.5 earned runs. So 6 pick entry. Feltner over 5.5 hits allowed. And then I have another 5 flex right here. Right. So here you can see the play on Julius Randle over 8 rebounds. Right. So another tool you can use to find profitable plays on PrizePicks is called the fantasy screen. It's currently free to use. It's in what we call beta mode. And all this tool does, right, is you can see this play again on Michael Grove, is it just shows you the player props that have the highest likelihood of winning based on sportsbook odds, right? So for Michael Grove, all the books have his over 2.5 earned runs as the heavily favored outcome. So this player prop is profitable, is great to include in your PrizePicks entry, right? You want to avoid the plays in red and basically just take all the picks that you can get in green, right? So I've explained this before, but on PrizePicks, it's pretty simple, right? If you want to be profitable betting on 5 flexes, you need to win over 54.3% of your picks, right? So long story short, let's go back to PrizePicks, is if you can select your over-unders at a rate of, let's say, 55%. So if you can win your over-unders, such as, Contreras, over-under 4.5 hits allowed, if you can hit these over-unders at a rate of 55%, so you're winning 55% of your picks, you're losing 45%, your ROI on PrizePicks is going to be positive long-term. 5% roughly, 4.98%, and I'll include the spreadsheet in the description. Right? What PrizePicks assumes is most bettors, they can't select over-unders much better than 50% of the time. Right? Most sports bettors, who don't have an edge, they're going to be able to select over-unders. Basically, anybody and their brother can hit these at a rate of 50%, right? You're hitting your over-unders at a rate of 50%. So most people are hitting at a rate of 50%, and their ROI, playing 5 flexes, will be negative 25%. So all you have to do to make money on PrizePicks is increase the win probability for each of your picks, right? Above 54.25%. And the way you do that is by looking at sportsbook odds, right? You want to find spots such as Embiid over 3.5 assists, where books have his over really heavily favored, because then the over is a lot more likely to occur than the under, and your player props are going to be winning over 54.25% of the time, so you're going to be profitable on PrizePicks long term. Right? So long story short, here's my 6 flex, 400 to win 10,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got some MLB, we got some NBA, we got some NHL, playoffs, and MLB regular season. And then I have this 5-pick entry. And again, you can use the fantasy screen. It's currently free to use. This tool, very similar to the EV tool, it just shows you spots, right? Here we see Embiid, over 3.5 assists. All the sportsbooks have his over heavily favored. So getting this player prop in your PrizePicks entry is great, right? Because it's a player prop that's winning over 54.25% of the time. It's winning 54.95% of the time, which is higher than 54.25, so you're going to make money. So long story short, because PrizePicks, it's so important to understand, because this platform, they don't change your payouts based on you selecting overs or unders, it's pretty simple to beat them. You don't even need OddsJam. You can do this manually. All you have to do is hunt around the sports books and look for spots where you can get a line on PrizePicks, and the sports books have that over heavily favored, just like Grove over 2.5 earned runs. It's -140 odds on DraftKings. It's the heavy favorite. That's a great player prop to include in your entry. So a couple different plays on PrizePicks. We got a 6-pick flex and we got a 5-pick flex. Let's make money.